Pieces of Wheelock is a multi-episode project that aims to showcase the Wheelock community. The project films authentic conversations between two people who have never met before while they build a puzzle. Let's meet our pieces.
My name is Dr. Jalene. I am a senior lecturer in education, leadership, and policy studies, and I direct the Dr. Carol Johnson Leadership Fellowship for BPS leaders.
Awesome. And I'm Lauren Summers. I'm staff at Wheelock. I'm a human resources administrator. I started 2 days ago, but I've been at BU for the past 2 years with human resources, and I'm also a student in the higher ed administration program.
Well, for me, there's a lot that I love about Wheelock. I'm also an alum of it was School of Education. I was the last SED class, or I was part of the last SED class where I was working on my doctorate. And one of the things that has always attracted me to BU is the fact that it's in the heart of the city. I grew up in Boston, and this time around, when I was looking for a new institutional home, BU really stood out to me because I had such a positive experience here as a grad student, but also because there was this opportunity to lead this leadership fellowship for the Boston Public Schools, which is a district that I was educated in and a district that I worked in for many years. And this fellowship opportunity really spoke to me because it was a partnership in a true sense of the term. So, this fellowship was co-designed between BPS and BU Wheelock, and it is an opportunity for me to collaborate with the district, but also support leadership development within the district, which is something that is necessary, and I think that there's a really powerful opportunity here to build something great that could be a model for other institutional partnerships, but could really have a strong impact on students in the Boston Public Schools.
That's awesome. Did you work with Irene on that fellowship?
So I am working with Irene on the fellowship. Yeah, she
great.
is an instrumental, kind of part of getting the fellowship up and running, but also running.
Yeah.
She's both, working in her capacity is 50% BPS, 50% BU. So it's a really unique model.
It is.
And I think Irene's role and how that was kind of put together really speaks to how balanced and kind of mutually beneficial this partnership is.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. I feel like that connection is very special.
Yes.
In terms of why I chose Wheelock, I of course was working in central HR prior to this, so I've had a lot of connections across the university. I know I worked with a lot of different units, but I really wanted to get kind of on the ground level of HR and actually work with these people who have an impact on educators, students, and access. And I think some of the research centers and ideas coming out of Wheelock right now are really exciting, and it's a period of exciting growth for the school. So I wanted to have more of an impact on that, even though I am on the administrative side. And I chose the grad program again because I'm really passionate about facilitating and serving these leaders who make an impact in our communities and in our colleges. So being an administrator, serving them is really fulfilling for me. So I think the program really helps with that and prepares leaders to do that.
Absolutely. Actually, I'll name two of them, and they're both kind of more recent courses that I have taught this year. And one of them was a fall course in performance-based instructional leadership, and this was for the fellows in the Carol Johnson Fellowship. And it was really great because I think sometimes, when we're developing leaders to work in schools, it sometimes goes by the wayside the fact that we really need people who are, of course, well versed in all the, the different kind of aspects of leadership. But the one part that I feel like isn't amplified enough is the need for leaders of any capacity in a district to be instructional leaders and to really kind of understand what good teaching and learning looks like and how to center instruction, in their practice of leadership, whatever role that may translate into. The other course that I'll say is like a school law intensive that I taught earlier this semester. And law is something like, this is a course that I actually learned quite a bit kind of while in the process of teaching it. But I'll say that there were a couple of things that made those two classes in particular really enjoyable for me, and these were both fellowship courses. First was that, with this model of partnership that's being practiced between BU and BPS right now, we are really trying as much as possible to be able to kind of implement co-instruction, right? And so like I'm teaching the course, but we have invited, either as a co-teacher or to support in some capacity, someone who is actually like working or has worked in the district, like worked at a senior level, and can really connect some of the content, which I may like really have a good grasp on, or sometimes maybe like the dynamic is flipped a little bit, but they are people who can come in and really in a kind of concrete way connect or translate some of the content that's being taught to the actual practice of systems leadership in the district.
Yeah, that's what I noticed as like the major theme between what you're talking about, like creating that community and that rich learning space. So that's awesome. And I think you mentioned a law class, and one of my favorite classes I've taken is the legal issues class with Professor Muir, and it's so relevant, I think, to so much of the work I do in human resources, so I'm loving getting to apply that work in a real-time space. And then also Professor Jalene from Wheelock teaches an amazing How Colleges Work class, and I've learned so much about how universities function. So those are two of my favorites. But I think it is special to have the ELPS community is very special. I feel like the role that I just moved into is what I wanted to do. I wanted to move out of like a very specific niche and start to touch different aspects of the university. So I'm very excited to work more with faculty, researchers, temporary staff, and then be a resource within the college and kind of provide that one-on-one guidance rather than working on a very, small part of the employee life cycle. And eventually I'd love to learn more about administration and kind of be one of those key decision-making players, and I think that this degree really gives me the background to do that.
The current cohort is about 50% school leaders, 50% district leaders, and I can speak to this from my own experience working in the district, is that it's very easy if you are in a school-based role or even in a central office role to be in effect like siloed a little bit and not have that perspective of what's happening at various levels and at various places within the district. And so one of the things that this fellowship is doing is helping to break down some of those silos and get people to see a broader perspective of how districts function, how there are multiple parts that need to kind of work in coordination with each other. And so my hope is that everyone just kind of grows their understanding to a systems level and be better prepared to step into a systems leadership role than they would be if they haven't had this opportunity to kind of cross-pollinate ideas and experiences.
I feel like there's such a strong community within the classes between the students, especially with the program I'm doing. A lot of people are full-time BU staff, and it is really special to have that shared connection across the university, and it feels like you're kind of going through a very similar experience. So community on the student side, but also on the staff side. I think everybody I've met and worked with as staff has they've been so genuine, and it's just so clear that they care about what they do. And I really value that, and that, I don't know, that's kind of been my aha moment of, you know, these people genuinely really, really care and are passionate about the work that they do, and I think that's special.
Yeah, I would echo that. Like I was going to say community. I mean,
Yeah.
of course, this is a rich kind of learning environment. But I will say that the thing for me that I, like every day since, September when I started, I'm like, oh, thank you. Like this is, this is really where I want to be, and I hope to stay for a very long time. Community is kind of palpable at like all levels. So thinking about like students, I think about kind of the kind of the cohort dynamic that has already been established with these Carol Johnson Fellows, but also thinking about the faculty here and how it is always a positive kind of experience, and I enjoy positive interactions, and I have never felt anything like that was not that. And then also just kind of like thinking about, the like the kind of guide star, and how like community is kind of being thought about in even broader terms. So when we think about Boston, like the city of Boston as a community, and how we can partner with districts like BPS, but also other districts and other organizations and other groups. That really speaks to me, and as I mentioned before, like I'm a lifelong Bostonian, and like that matters.
Yeah.
Yeah, like just come. You will find your niche. You will find your people, and that's the beauty of BU Wheelock.
Thanks for joining this episode of Pieces of Wheelock.
I'm Dr. Jalene Tamarat.
I'm Lauren Summers, and we'll see you on campus.